With Universe 6 now down to its last 2 remaining fighters, and that being the Universe 6 Namekians, they now find themselves in a dire situation as Ultra Instinct Goku had managed to ring out and separate Kefla's fusion, but during the process of doing so, resulted in Goku losing every bit of energy he had left as he finds himself now on the receiving end of Universe 2's wrath. But the question is, can he survive? As right now we're about to dive into the Dragon Ball Super episode 117 preview to further dissect, analyze, and break down the events coming involving both Universe 2 and Universe 7. And again, if you guys are new to this channel, don't forget to go on ahead and punch that subscribe button and enable all notifications. That way you guys can get my videos in your sub box whenever a brand new video is posted onto the channel. Hashtag Dragon Ball Squad as we dive into the Dragon Ball Super episode 117 preview with everyone's beloved neighborhood Teletubby on the attack as we get to see Ribrianne shooting out hearts and saying, "Hey, it's me, Goku." Now we understand this episode is going to be solely based around Ribrianne, as it is hinted that Ribrianne is going to have a very special ability coming up in this week's episode, as we also get to see how she's targeting android number 18. And with these hearts having to be shot out towards 18, it looks like 18 inevitably does duck and dodge in avoiding all of Ribrianne's attacks. And again, in terms of power scaling, the power scaling for said characters are completely out there, in the idea that one can only imagine if 18 is strong enough as of this very point to be holding her own against Ribrianne in her ability to stop her fully. But it looks like 18 is mostly going to be on the move as we get to see a tired Goku staring out in the distance, as it says all of the Universe 2 guys are coming at us at once. And we understand that based on Dragon Ball Super episode 116, Goku essentially enough has no energy left. He's tired, he's worn down, and essentially now he is a target for the Universe 2 fighters. As we transition into the next shot here, as it also showcases Goku on the ground with Ribrianne having to target Android 18, and right behind Android 17 we get to see how Rosie is on the move, which again goes back to my power scaling statement in the idea that 17 should easily be able to hold his own against Rosie in any given situation, seeing as how 17 was able to hold his own against Super Saiyan Blue Goku early on before the Tournament of Power actually started, which in turn doesn't make any sense to me in the idea that Rosie's going to be fighting 17. I can understand Ribrianne and 18, but this leaves Goku open for attack from the other Universe 2 fighters as we transition into the next shot here with Android 17 having to be on the move against Rosie, as it says Ribrianne uses the power of love for a terrifying transformation. What could this possibly mean? Does this essentially mean that Ribrianne is going to have another transformation? Is she going to revert back somehow into what she used to look like before, or is she going to transform from this ugly fat Teletubby into something completely different? We don't really know, but you can bet your bottom dollar that the punches being thrown right now are from Rosie and not from Ribrianne essentially. But the overall narrative is that Ribrianne uses the power of love in discovering something more, something higher. As we transition into the next shot here with Android 17, he doesn't look to be injured or battle damaged or tired, but he does seem to be a tad bit annoyed and or concerned at the idea that something's going on behind him. Could this be the transformation? Could this be possibly somebody targeting Goku? I love the idea of the androids having to protect Goku, because the irony in this is the fact that the androids were originally targeting Goku back in Dragon Ball Z, and now to see both of them defend Goku, I think, is a revelation in and of itself. As we transition into the next shot here, as it goes on to state this is going to be an ugly battle, as of course we get to see one of the other Universe 2 fighters, in which case I do think that the following characters, as we're going to see on screen, are going to be eliminated with the exception of possibly Ribrianne and of course Rosie. As we transition into the next shot here, once again, I feel as if all these characters having to be shown, including the blue guy on screen now, are going to get foddered. I don't see these characters making any sort of impact, and nor do I believe that Goku is going to be the guy to ring these characters out, but instead I think that it's going to be possibly Vegeta, as Rosie fights Android 17 and Ribrianne fights Android 18. And just to clear the sector, I do think that Vegeta, since of course now he's no longer fighting Topo, is going to be on the move to defend Goku and trying to also learn Ultra Instinct for himself. As we transition into the next shot here, as the narration says, number 17 and number 18, show them your coordinated attacks, which I personally find very enjoyable in the idea that the androids haven't really worked fully together since the beginning of the tournament, so now having going to see them fight the Universe 2 fighters. Hopefully, we get to see them either ring out the fighters approaching Goku, or if anything, giving Vegeta more of a role in him having to actually do something in an episode, as opposed to him just admiring Goku and wondering about Ultra Instinct, as we transition into the next shot here. And obviously, based on what's happening, Goku is going to be in a situation to where he's possibly going to be forced to fight 1-on-3, and Goku is no stranger in having to overcome the odds and fighting multiple different characters, so I personally feel that this is the perfect opportunity for Goku to either rest up and having someone save his behind, possibly Vegeta, as I just stated, as we get to see the next image here, and it looks like Ribrianne is shooting more of these blasts. It's kind of hard to even fathom as to what's happening, but she's definitely targeting a specific character as we transition into the next shot here, which that character happens to be Android 18. Now again, based on speculation, based on the overall results, we don't know if Android 18 is going to be eliminated, if Android 17 is going to have an elimination of his own by sacrificing himself to protect his sister, which again would be a massive twist that nobody in the community would see coming. It would also be very suitable, I think, but at the same time, I think if anything, Android 18 is going to be the next to go, as we transition into the next shot here, as it says next time on Dragon Ball Super, and of course we get to see Ribrianne's original form in the background, but the only thing is we don't know what's going on with her. We don't know if she's going to tap into a new power that's going to make her relative to some of the other fighters. Presumably enough, we can only assume that the form that we saw her up until this very point now in the tournament was possibly Super Saiyan level at best, so with this new transformation, we can only assume that her power is going to increase dramatically, giving her a better fighting chance in the tournament. Again, I never liked Ribrianne. I definitely preferred Kefla, Kale, and Caulifla more so than Ribrianne, but of course I do think that at the very end, they're going to give Ribrianne some kind of a boost to give her a more credible chance of looking stronger in the overall tournament, as we transition into the next shot here, as Android 18 seems to be trapped in this love bubble, and in the background, we get to see how Ribrianne is transforming, as the title states Showdown of Love, Androids versus Universe number 2, and the very last image having to be shown here, it's Ribrianne, and she seems to be engulfed in this bubble of energy, in this bubble of light. We see her hair floating up, we see something is happening to her, so my overall thoughts on this is I think that at this given point in the game, she is going to transform, if there's going to be any kind of transformation for Ribrianne, as it was hinted by the narrator in the fact that she uses the power of love to transform further, as we transition into the final shot here with Android 18 very shocked, very surprised, very stunned as to what she's looking at. So maybe the image of Android 17 looking behind him and Android 18 having to stare at something in front of her, maybe they're all connected in the idea that this is going to be Ribrianne's transformation, even though for me, I completely disagree with the idea of Ribrianne even having a transformation to begin with. It's safe to assume that by the end of this episode, going into episode 118, at least one other major character like Android 18 or somebody else is going to be susceptible to getting wrung out, as we understand that Dragon Ball Super episode 118 spoilers confirm that somebody in the group, somebody is going to be affected by the overall outcome of what's going to happen involving Katella and his fighters. So maybe something happens here in which triggers the inevitable in one fighter having to be wrung out in the upcoming episode. But in the end, guys, what are your overall thoughts on Ribrianne's transformation? What are your overall thoughts on the androids working together? Is Goku going to be able to defend himself fully, or is someone like Vegeta going to ultimately notice this and coming to Goku's aid, or are the androids going to protect Goku all the way through? Post your comments down below, guys. If you guys are stoked, ready, and hyped for the upcoming episode, go ahead and slap a like down below. Thank you all so very much for watching. If you guys are new to this channel, don't forget to go ahead and smash that subscribe button, guys. Turn on all notifications. Tune back in for more. And for those who celebrate the holidays, I do want to say happy Thanksgiving for all of you out there who celebrate. Tune back in for more, and I'll be seeing you all down in the comment section below. Have a great day, everybody. Peace.